Okay, board, the first thing we have is the minutes from May 14th to May 28th. We had time to look at them and talk about them, whatever. And if so, motion for acceptance.
I'll move it.
Second? Second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. That's for both of them. Okay, moving on. Reports of town officials by standing committee, chairpersons. We'll start with the zoning, Councilman Messa.
All right, we have, go ahead and read this resolution.
Well, why don't you, if you do, before we get into resolutions, why don't we just say that we did get back, we were waiting for the planning board to come back with its recommendations with regards to two topics. One, the telecommunications facilities. With regards to that, this memo was sent to the town clerk, and it reads, please be advised that the planning board members addressed the caption at their meeting of June 9, 2014. After a discussion between board members, the following ensued. Motion was made by board member Heather Mowat to recommend to the town board the adoption of proposed local law introductory B of 2014 to amend the town code chapter 107B entitled Telecommunications Facilities, seconded by board member Julius Fuchs. Vote then taken, and it was a 7-0 unanimous vote to approve that by the planning board. The second topic that they dealt with that night, pertaining to what we're doing here tonight, is with regards to the updated zoning law and comprehensive plan. With regards to that, again, a memo was sent to the town clerk, and it reads as follows. Please be advised that the planning board members addressed the caption at their meeting of June 9, 2014. The following ensued. Motion was made by board member Heather Mowat to recommend to the town board the approval of the new updated zoning law and comprehensive plan. However, it was noted by board member Liz DiGeronimo that there is no mention of the GEIS in the comprehensive plan, and she feels not to have it mentioned is a gap in the plan, as it is a very significant document. She mentioned that the plan expired in 2012 and 2013. Town attorney Cully stated that GISs do not expire. There is a mechanism to still collect fees in lieu of mitigation and also reevaluate them. Chairman D'Elia stated that the positive declaration does not disappear, it remains in effect. With that being said, board member Heather Mowat would like to add her motion that reference to the GIS document be added to the new updated comprehensive plan, seconded by board member Bill Morris. After that, the vote was taken, and again, it was a unanimous vote. And just for your information, board, those, the GIS, the comprehensive plan was changed to include the GIS per the motion by the planning board. So that has been taken care of, and the new comprehensive plan has been sent. I believe, Gail, you have a copy of it now? Okay, so just those two things. So the planning board reviewed both of the things we're going to be looking at tonight and voted 7-0 for us to approve. Go ahead, Jim.
So in this order, Town of Hartford, New York, resolution to determine significance of environmental impacts pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the preparation of the Town of New Hartford Comprehensive Plan, repeal and replacement of Chapter 118 of the Town Code, and amendment to Chapter 107B of the Town Code. Whereas the Town of Hartford has developed a comprehensive plan, new zoning and zoning map, and an amendment to the telecommunications facilities chapter of the Town Code to implement the comprehensive plan, and whereas the intent of each of the new comprehensive plan, zoning and zoning map, and amendment to Chapter 107B of the Town Code regarding telecommunication facilities are to better manage land use and development practices in the Town of Hartford with the goal of protecting community resources, including natural, recreation, historic, and scenic resources, continue to mitigate stormwater challenges facing the town, and directing development into areas of the town where infrastructure is already placed and away from undeveloped or more rural areas. And whereas the proposed amendments to the zoning and telecommunication facilities chapter of the Town Code implement the goals of objectives of the comprehensive plan, and whereas the proposed amendment to Chapter 107B entitled Telecommunications Facilities will direct new facilities to be co-located on existing structures whenever possible to better protect the aesthetic character of the town of New Hartford. Now therefore be it resolved that as lead agency pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617.7, Town Board finds that preparation of the Town of New Hartford Comprehensive Plan, repeal and replacement of Chapter 118 and amending Chapter 107B will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and authorizes the insurance of a negative declaration of the Type 1 Act. The reasons for this determined are: 1, that the action involved preparation of a program and regulations and do not involve any physical alteration or activities on the land within the town. And 2, that the town of New Hartford requires that all activities and projects requiring from the completed plan are individually required to conform with the State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617.
And we're going to take that as a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Rich. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous? Okay, take your, pick on the next one.
This one.
We got number 2.
Number 2, the Town of New Hartford, New York resolution to adopt the Town of New Hartford Comprehensive Plan. Whereas the Town of New Hartford Town Board of the Town of New Hartford had designated a steering committee to work with consultant River Street Planning and Development LLC to prepare a new comprehensive plan for the Town of New Hartford. And whereas a public meeting was held on April 3rd, 2014 to present the draft comprehensive plan and gain input from the community, and whereas a public hearing was held on May 14, 2014, and the comprehensive plan has been reviewed by the Town Planning Board and United County Planning Departments, and whereas the Town Board has completed a full environmental assessment form and determined that the preparation of the comprehensive plan will have no significant negative environmental impact in accordance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, 6 NYCRR Part 617, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board does hereby adopt the comprehensive plan dated June 2014.
That being a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second by Dave. Discussion?
Well, how does this, we just got this United County Department of Planning input. How does that affect it? There's 13 points that they have identified that either are incorrect or need, at least from their perspective, need adjusting. I don't know whether
Joe?
They were forwarded to River Street, and River Street addressed them categorically.
So this has been incorporated?
Yes.
Further discussion?
Members of the board, just myself and Luke Lewis. My name's Ed Schmidt, by the way. New Hartford resident, lifelong resident. Just wanted to ask a question regarding a possible project that Luke and I are involved in. It's phase 2 of the Oxford Heights condominium development out of Oxford Road near United Street.
Can you hold that for a minute? Ed?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
This is just a compliment.
Aye.
All unanimous. Okay. Go ahead. Jim.
Okay. Town of New Hartford resolution to adopt the Town of New Hartford zoning law. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of New Hartford has designated a steering committee, I think I read on that before, but I left off, I think, whereas a public hearing was held in, I did on this one already, right? We got that one, right?
No, because the bottom is different. If you want to just say it's the same on the top and get to the therefore,
Yeah.
we'll buy that.
Okay, same as the other, and therefore, now therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board does hereby adopt the zoning law dated June 2014.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Discussion by the board. You know, you're a little late, Ed. But I'm going to allow you to make a comment for all your past service to the town.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, just the reason, again, our apologies for apparently missing public comment time, but what we've done, Luke, Mr. Lewis and myself, we purchased basically the phase 2 of this Oxford Heights condominium development, brought the property back up to the current with taxes, et cetera. This particular property was pre-approved, so to speak, a number of years ago for 38 parcels, additional units, which are all separate tax parcels. And just one of the concerns we have, of course, the concern we have, is we would like to request that this phase 2 be grandfathered in, so to speak, is that there is quite a bit of infrastructure already in place, and several approvals were granted, once again, a number of years ago to this particular property. And as we understand, the new zoning would allow for a different type of two-family structures to be erected on this site. And once again, the property was pre-approved for 38, so-called pre-approved for 38 units, future development. And we, this is a scenario that we did bring before, or did have a meeting rather, at the Town Highway Department about 3 months ago. Met with Joe, Herb Cully, DPW, and Chris, and also the consultant planner, so to speak. Is that correct, Joe?
The town engineer, Chris Law.
Okay. And this was about 3 months ago. And we did pose these questions, and we have attempted to correspond with Herb Cully several times. He hasn't gotten back to us yet with any, I guess, recommendations or research that he was going to do regarding this particular situation. And all we're looking to do really is just preserve what was pre-approved and permitted through a process a number of years ago, so that you know, if and when we do move forward with this particular project, it will still be conducive to the type of housing units that are currently there. And just kind of as a side note, we did meet with the homeowners association again several months ago, and they were very receptive to what we had to say in regards to the property, what we saw as future development there, and they were quite receptive to that development being conducive and similar to what exists there now.
Joe, is this for this board, or is this for the planning board?
Actually, it's a legal opinion. They're in need of, Pat, the approval's over 20 years old, and
Well, that's when it was 94.
20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The approval is over 20 years old, and we need a legal opinion as to whether that approval is still valid after the changes that have occurred in that area of town. And
Is that a decision we make or planning board makes?
I would say it's a legal decision that, well, Herb volunteered to look into it, so.
Did he ever get back to you?
No, we've been waiting over 3
That
months.
was March 6th. We several, I mean, we got a document, several emails, correspondence, but he has not responded.
Joe, what's exactly changing in that Oneida Street area as far as
Well,
uses?
the propensity for flooding, number one. Number two, we're now an MS4 district.
Okay.
Um,
Wasn't there some uses changing over in that area that are different from what they are today in this new plan?
The zone proposed for this particular development still allows townhomes, but
Okay,
only in 2-unit configurations.
okay.
Just so the board knows, I'm Luke
Wait,
Lewis.
wait a minute.
Okay.
One person. We had a public comment period 4 or 5 meetings ago, okay? Board, what do you want to do here?
What are you actually proposing, single-family houses, as you talk about?
He wants, they've been grandfathered in that would allow more than just 2 townhouses, if you will, next to each other. You could have multiple, maybe 4 if you want. The new zoning would require just 2 would be the maximum.
The configuration now is
Apartment complex, right?
is what,
It's
4?
Yeah.
Oxford Heights.
Right, he was a one apartment complex.
No,
Right.
that's not what he's
Sounds
saying.
like-
No, it's, okay.
It is currently provides, or rather comprised of basically four unit buildings,
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Which is what they had approval for on the original plan, but it's over 20 years old, and
It would match what's existing up there.
Correct, correct.
And you sell these to people and they, is that, they're
Exactly,
not rented,
exactly.
are they
They are
rented?
homeowners, they're not
They're
renters.
homeowners,
They're
okay,
homeowners,
yeah.
correct. And as I stated earlier,
basically what he's asking, hold on a second, basically what he's asking is to continue to what he's got up there now, nothing different. The only problem is that under the new zoning code, it would change it to 2. Joe, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
How many units are there now at approximately?
I think 42.
42.
42 in 2 and 3 groups,
No, 3 and 4.
3 and 4, okay.
3 and 4.
Joe,
Yes.
any comment on this? Recommendation either way, from your end?
The only thing I asked Herb to look at is, we have a section in our code that it's a time limit for commencement. If there's substantial infrastructure already in, then that plays in their favor. If the infrastructure wasn't put in, then it's not considered commenced.
Would we not have significant infrastructure there?
Well, it's
Now-
possible nothing exists, I don't know.
I did-
I've been told that a storm sewer exists.
You mean in the part that they're looking to develop?
Yes,
Okay.
Right.
but I don't know exactly what's there.
The town takes care of
What is there, actually, the town does maintain, what is there regarding the phase 2 specifically? There are sewer mains, water retention basin.
Is there, Chris?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, I know there is stormwater in that area. There's a basin at the bottom of the road. I can't really say for sure what's up in that undeveloped part. I don't think I've ever walked up in there myself.
The full sanitary is in, both sanitary mains and laterals.
They're there.
Buildings are in, with a full 30.
Does anybody here know that for sure?
The town actually has done the scoping, or Oneida County has, to make sure on the leaks, and they actually put some, I don't know if they call them bubbles in it, so it couldn't be impacted with infiltration and go downstream. So that's been done. The town- the
Chris,
town
Joe,
has
do we know
documented.
that?
I don't know.
Joe?
Not for
Chris?
sure, no.
I can get it.
Can we be approved to wait another meeting? Can we have everything?
We've already waited, I'd like to move on this thing one way or the other, John. I mean, we're going another month, you know, the hope was to get this somewhat close to building season. If we go July, we've missed this whole building season.
I'm okay with, grandfather, and as, phase 2, with the fact that, there's proper stormwater and so forth in place. I mean, I think that's a big factor, I think, going forward. Other than that, I'm okay.
Joe, does this get reviewed again by the planning board when they start, before they start this construction?
I believe if the approval is considered grandfathered, it will not.
We would go in front of the planning board again, if asked.
I think the other point too is if in fact it is significantly committed, significantly underway, significantly started, even though it was 20 years ago, I think it says that we're committed, they're committed, that much was approved by the town.
I'm okay with the home ownership.
Rich?
Yeah. Well,
I'm good, I just like that contingency on the fact that
Can we
developers
ask
do.
to have
Can we put in there that we will have our engineers go up and review this for stormwater, et cetera?
Yes.
Sure.
Based upon current regulations, not necessarily regulations 20 years ago?
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't want to do anything different, to be honest with you.
If
You want to do the best as you can as developer.
reputation
Okay, Joe?
is important.
Base it on regulations now?
They did approach us 3 months ago, and they legitimately asked for an opinion 3 months ago.
Okay.
So just
And we can put
And
town attorney's opinion also? And add that to it, sure.
once we get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I don't know how we put this in, Gail. Counselor?
Yeah.
All right, can we take a short break here? You got Herb's number? We're going to take a short recess here and see if I get a hold of our town attorney.
To be honest with you.
So,
5544.
Yeah, no, I.
give me a few minutes.
What do you think? Is he excited?
All right, we're back in session. I couldn't get a hold of the town attorney. However, we will, if the board is in favor, we'll make the adjustment to grandfather in the Oxford Heights development. We're back in recess.
What happened?
I'm not sure that interests me a lot. 750, so there's much of anything. Just that playground, some
Oh,
My granddaughter's into it, boy, it's tough. She's a percussionist.
I got one that's coming up, that's gonna be a percussionist.
That's one of the happiest days of my life when I sold his drum set. Watching for infiltration.
All right, we're back in session. What we would need is a resolution
Right.
prior to accepting the new code that would grandfather them in. We would make that resolution based upon the fact that they do have significant infrastructure. It would be contingent upon our engineers, the highway department going out and checking, making sure that the statements they made today are correct. That is based upon the original plan that was approved by the planning board, and that it would be subject to review by our town engineers based upon current regulations in effect today. I'll put that as a motion.
I'll second that.
That's just, this will be just a basic resolution to grandfather them and
Prior to,
prior to doing
How
the
far,
code.
but have we, let's see, so we have plans changed there.
Yeah, this is totally
Okay,
separate
all right,
from
okay.
any other
So we
resolution.
haven't got to, all right,
Right. This is,
okay.
okay, did you get all that? We'll clarify it
Next
later.
there too,
We'll clarify it later with council.
yeah.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Just, so it limits it to 3 to 4 units, and it makes it home ownership. It doesn't turn into like an apartment complex of 30
No.
units or nothing.
Right.
Because that's what's on the original plan and a half.
Exactly.
okay.
No, well, no one's looking, we're not looking at apartment.
Okay, great,
It's-
okay,
It's home
great.
ownership.
Thanks.
I second that.
Second by Jim.
Yeah.
Discussion?
You moved,
That was whatever I said.
okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, back to discussion.
Do we have to do all in favor on the one I just got done reading? I don't think we did
Is
that.
that a motion?
That's a motion.
I think I seconded.
The zoning motion?
Yeah, I don't think we went around this.
Yeah, but we didn't say aye, we had discussion.
Okay. we're back to this motion to pass the zoning law,
Okay.
okay, which was made by Jim,
Jim,
seconded by Paul.
Paul.
Discussion? Vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Okay, now we're moving on to Town of Hartford, New York, local law introductory B of 2014. A local law to amend the code of the Town of New Hartford, Chapter 107B thereof, entitled Telecommunications Facilities in the Town of New Hartford, be enacted by the Town Board of the Town of New Hartford as follows. Section 1, Chapter 107B of the Code of the Town of New Hartford, Section 107B-5 is hereby amended by adding the following. Co-located existing structure antennas. An antenna that is to be attached to an existing communications tower on or any other structure is a permitted use in all zoning districts except in or within 750 feet of a residential zone. An antenna that is to be attached to any other structure in any zone other than the residential zone or within 750 feet of a residential zone is permitted use. These antennas are not permitted upon the issuance of a building permit. The building permit application will include a structural analysis report verifying the ability of the structure to support the antenna while also deeming the structure to be capable of supporting the additional loads. The height of the antenna shall not exceed or extend above the height of the existing structure by more than 50 feet. Section 2, all other provisions of Chapter 107B of the Code of the Town of Hartford and amendments thereto are hereby affirmed except to the extent that this local law shall modify or amend. Section 3, this local law shall become effective immediately upon its filing with the Office of Secretary of State.
Motion being made by Jim, second.
Second.
Second by Dave. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. You got anything else, Jim, on zoning?
Nope.
Public Works?
Public Works. We had a bid for the pickup truck. Went out to bid, and according to the bid specs and so forth, Steve County Ford and Yorkville like to award the bid to them for a 2014 Ford F-250 for the amount of $24,000. So I'm looking to make a motion to purchase that.
That was the low bid? Or was that the only bid?
Well, it was the other bid, they didn't really follow the bid specs, and it was on the F-350.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay, motion by Jim, second.
I second it, and also like to approve the payment.
Yeah, I don't know if I may make a second motion to do the payment.
I'm just saying it and approve the payment
Because
this week so they can pick it
Rick
up.
came to me today on this and said he wanted to pick it up Friday, wanted to cut a check, instead of waiting until July. And I said, well, the next time we can cut a check would be Wednesday.
Right.
So we gotta do a budget adjustment for that also, I guess, because he
Where's it
sold.
coming out of?
Well, he sold.
Well, he sold a pickup truck for $22,500 and a van for $15,50, which is the $24,000. So we were gonna put, and this wasn't in the budget, so we we're gonna increase the revenue line item by that, and then increase his budget line item for new equipment purchase for the same amount.
You want to add that in your resolution,
Yes.
so that we're not buying it before we have a budget?
And those
You got it.
the specific line items are to increase DB 2665.00 by 24,000, and then increase DB 5130.02 by 25,000. That's the expense.
Did you say 24,000 and 25,000?
24,000.
Both of them are 24,000.
Did I say 25?
Yeah.
Okay? So we're all set on the money, Dave?
Yeah.
Any more discussion on this? Okay, second by Paul. Based on those adjustments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous? Something else, Jim?
Yep, just have a seasonal help. I believe it's Dennis helping at rate of $8.50. This is the last of the four that Rick has for seasonal help. I'd like to make a motion to hire Dennis for $8.50.
Effective, did I, is
Um,
there an effective date? I think Barb gave me something. Requested starting date June 30th, 2014. And that was, what'd you say, how much an hour?
$8.50.
Okay, motion made by Jim, second. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
That's all I have. Yeah, that's enough.
Okay, Rich, Town Clerk Committee.
Let's do Parks and Recreation first. shall we?
Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip over you, Dave? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Seasonal appointments in your package, you've got seasonal appointments for the swim program as well as the playground. This is all budgeted, these are all town residents. And I would make a motion that we accept these seasonal appointments and playground employees.
A second.
These are all town residents?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Anything else, Dave?
Nope.
Now, Town Clerk Committee.
We have a fireworks application for June 28th at the Onondagas, requesting permission to do the fireworks. I'll make the motion that we do so.
Second.
Second by Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay, Rich, I guess we're back, unless somebody else, Karen, I'm sorry.
The zoning board of appeals appointment, Karen Stanislaus, term expires June 9th.
Yeah, didn't we have, yeah, how did we miss it? Where is it?
I think we got caught up in.
We put something in, took that one out. All right, yeah, we do have a vacancy, actually, that zoning, that expired June 9th, which I was not, I thought it expired at the end of the month, but for some reason it expired on the 9th. However, we did advertise for this. I believe we did receive 2 interested parties, along with Karen's. And I believe that board, you received them all. I know that Karen was the recommended person by the chairman of the zoning board, and came with high recommendation from town council, who also happens to be the council for the zoning board. So
Make a motion, we accept Karen as be reappointed on the zoning board of appeals.
Second.
second by Paul. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Hey, you do have one thing.
Sure, go ahead.
As we spoke last week about the fencing over at Royal Brook Lane, me and Pat went out on site with Rick. I'd like to see if we can go out to rebid the fencing, because I called the bids we had last time, and 2 of them weren't interested right at this moment because they were packed, and the last one was the highest bid, which was really way over the other 2. So I took a look at it. There was 320 feet of fencing on the commercial drive side, which started at the State Farm left-hand corner and continued all the way to the corner of Raspberries on the right-hand corner of Raspberries. And then also, too, I'd like to get 9 shrubs. We measured it out. It would be 9 shrubs, 6 foot apiece, in front of, in back of 22 through 24 Royal Brook Lane. And that would take care of the issue, because we can't extend the fence on that side, because it drops too low, and there wouldn't be enough, the light would still be going over, so Pat made a recommendation to go with shrubs. So I thought if the board was okay with it, maybe we can go out to rebid it, because, again, like I said, the highest bid was way out of control, and the other 2 couldn't do it because they're booked right through the summer, so.
We just want to go out to rebid it.
Yeah, I want to rebid it. I want to rebid the 9 shrubs 6 foot apiece, and then the 320 foot of fencing in back of the other situation.
Any idea what those shrubs cost? Either Mike, Jeffrey, or Chris?
What type of, like,
How much?
What type of shrub are you talking, like an arborvitae or something?
Like probably cedar bush, something that
Yeah.
grows fast, something that's filled
Grows
out.
tall
Probably
too.
looking at $29 a piece or something. No.
Well, we don't have to, well, that's under the bidding requirement then.
Yeah,
So why don't we bid the fence, gentlemen, and if we're under the bidding, we'll just get a couple of
Just get
quotes.
okay.
And then, I would ask that if it's under the $1,000 bidding requirement, isn't that our requirement?
Yeah, this is for the Mud Creek
Yeah.
project. It's, max is gonna be $2,700, that's all that's in
No, but we'll make it,
there.
yeah,
Adjustment.
for now, but for these shrubs, and then we'll make an adjustment when we get the fencing in. But I mean, in our purchasing manual, $1,000 is our
Yes.
bidding requirement.
Yeah, it's below.
So, maybe you want to get a motion that if it's under that we'll get
Sure.
3 quotes? and
Will,
you take
will the
lowest?
town install, because if, will the town put?
You're pushing.
Well, if the town puts them in, then it's gonna be.
Chris, will it tell?
Well, because I'm just saying, there's 9 of them, even
Mike,
if,
can you do that?
if they gotta be put in, we'll put them in.
because then it'll
Drive out
definitely
with
be.
a backhoe and dig
I'm
all
only
of them
asking
in.
you because you do this more than the highway does.
Happy to do
don't you?
it.
Chris is shaking his head
We can work
already.
together.
We can get.
Between the two of you, can you get it done?
We can get it done.
All right, that'd be great.
Other country.
That's great, so, because there's 9 of them who take care of the whole situation, so.
All right, would you go out and see, and maybe you could talk to Mike and Chris, see what might be best as far as giving them the most shelter there for
Okay.
light? And then go
Okay.
out and see what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's the under $1,000, just move on it, take the lowest one and go.
Okay.
But board, that's up to you, what you want.
I'm okay with that.
Want to make a motion to that? We'll do the hedge first and then we'll do the bid second.
All right, so I make the motion.
I'll second, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then you want a motion to go out to bid on the
On the fencing, yeah.
Use the same specs as last time?
Use the same specs I have them already drawn up, so.
Okay, motion by Paul, second by Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous?
Thank you.
All done. All right, Rich, we back to you.
Okay.
I would like to, if you're talking about the appointments, could we go into executive session first and then do it afterwards? Okay, thank you.
I've got one thing
Sure.
that, I'd like the board to consider the public comment period be reinstated on our agenda, either at the beginning or the end. I think it was, I think we have already established or can establish parameters in terms of time limits and issues discussed, et cetera. But I think we need to allow for public comment. And I'd like to see that back on the agenda at some juncture, either at the beginning or the end.
Just as a comment, the public comment was never restricted. What we did was we asked them to be put on the agenda. In my opinion, what that does is a couple of things. One is it allows people who may have an opinion on what this person may be saying to know that it's on the agenda and have them come in and hear them speak and maybe even rebut them or agree with them or whatever. I think by not having it on the agenda, it closes the government up a little bit. I think if you put it on the agenda, that's more open government. Everybody can see it. They know what's coming. There may be people out there that will disagree with what this person's saying, or maybe even agree with them, and want to be here to support them or rebut them. I think asking somebody to be put on the agenda the Monday before, and that's what Gail's willing to do, the meeting, I don't think is too much. As you folks know, she asked us to do it by the Thursday before. So I mean, that's 2 days before a meeting to call up and do it. What I would consider doing is putting it on the website, if you think that would work better, that anybody willing to speak, we ask to be put on the agenda, call Gail and have it put on the Monday before. But I just think it opens it up to more people, instead of just having one person come in and give their one point of view, with the very possibility, I mean, we don't even have an OD reporter here tonight, which means if somebody did speak, they wouldn't know about it for another month when they read it. on the website with the board minutes up there. So,
Well, those
Anyway,
are
that's
good
my
comments. I think that would not preclude that from happening. Should there be something that an individual wants to notify, if you will, other parties through the agenda publication. But I also think that someone coming in should have the right, or the right to be heard and speak on a topic that perhaps they hadn't put on the agenda.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's unreasonable, and again, we have set parameters. The chair has established parameters in the past in terms of length of time, one person speaking on a topic, et cetera, et cetera. I think it should be added back to the agenda.
I would ask that if the majority of the board wants that, I still would not be in favor, but at least that it would be a commentary and not a question and answer period. I think that also poses a problem for some of our department heads, and I know it poses a problem for our town attorney when someone comes in and brings up something that has not been relevant and hits them at the last moment. And this has happened in the past with legal questions to our town attorney and even to department heads when they're asked something. So if a comment wants to be made, I wouldn't feel is negative against it. However, the question and answer, which a lot of these turns into, ends up turning into a debate, and that I definitely would not be in favor of.
Right, and again, I think that's correct. It's tough to make a point and perhaps not ask a question associated with that point. But our obligation to answer that on the spot can't be expected in most cases. I think it's reasonable to say that we're going to have to look at it, we'll get back to you, or could you put that in writing, or whatever.
I think it's reasonable.
Because as you know, public hearings are not a
Absolutely.
debate, and we do not
Absolutely,
debate those.
absolutely. But again, I think someone making a point, there may be a question in there, whether it's verbalized or not, may not be, but to your point, I think it's a good point.
Well, I would ask that that statement be read if in fact the board passes this. I'm still not in favor of it, but still be read before that questions will not be answered. Because I don't want our department heads, I don't want our town attorney, because what happens a lot of times, even though we have said years ago that this was a comment, they come up with a question, and now our town attorney or one of our department heads feels obligated because nobody's saying anything, so now they're under the gun. So at the very least, I would say that if you're making guidelines...
You may or may not
here-
be able to answer the question.
Well, I don't
You
think
may-
we answer any questions. I mean, if it's a public comment period, which is what it's supposed to be, somebody gets up and says, hey, listen, you know, I don't like what's going on up in my neighborhood.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your comment.
That's right.
You know, so to that effect, you know, we'll look into it. If you want to say that, that's
Right.
fine.
Exactly.
But when they say, what's this? I think that's above and beyond. People like that, I think you get put on the agenda and
I would agree.
allow the board to go with it.
Make a motion, we reinstate the public comment period on the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay.
Discussion.
All right. I like the fact that, personally, I like the fact that it be on the agenda, you know, hear me out. Because, you know, I think it might force the residents, if you will, be well prepared coming in, knowing that they have a topic. You know, I commend to, you know, going to the last board meeting or so where we had the public discussion. They came prepared, they read off their statements and so forth. I thought it was well organized, so, you know, to that, you know, regards, I like it to be on there so we kind of know ahead of time, and preparation for it. Again, not limiting, you know, public speaking by any means, but I just think it makes more sense to have them articulate what they're going to say, and we have an idea too what's ahead of us as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that's, you know, because I know other, you know, the county, they have a lot of people come in, it comes as a sound off and so forth, but I don't think we're stifling any resident from, you know, speaking. But I think if they know these are the procedures, then everybody would abide by that, I think. I don't see, if I had to come in knowing that these are the rules, then that's what you do. But secondary too, we talk about, and I brought this up before, when we have these public hearings and so forth, hands are going crazy, raising. I think we have a sign in, we call off, we know, and we can handle it over to Gail afterwards, their name, their address, and so forth. And then the supervisor can call off each name as
Well, I think.
on the list. So, it's just uniform, more professional and so forth.
Right, and I think in the past, the chair has handled it properly. My point is, it's been deleted, I think it should be brought back. I think the chair has done a good job in managing the whole public comment process.
Paul, you got any?
Yeah, I mean, the comment part of it, I think maybe it's fine if people come and have a comment, but again, the question and answer, maybe put that to an agenda then, to make everybody happy. I mean, it's, in case they got a question for Rick, or got a question for her, whatever, that be put on there, something they want answered.
Yeah, and I think it's expected, we may not have an answer to your question.
Right, but have that part of it on the agenda, but then just comments, if somebody just wants to raise their hand and say, oh, I'm just unhappy with this area or something, then that just let them do that.
Thanks for your comment.
Right, exactly.
Just one last thing, just because I know you folks know and Gail knows, but for anybody else that may be, the state does not require this.
Right.
Okay, as a matter of fact, the state will come right out in any of the literature they give you when you're elected, tells you that this board meeting is to conduct town business by this board. If you want to have it as an option, you can have a moment when the public can get up and speak. However, be advised that in none of this writing is it even recommended by the state that you do this. However, on the other hand, if you look at what the state did quite a while ago, they do require us now to put more into our agenda. All of these documents that Gail now puts in is a requirement. And what you're asking is that we put less in our agenda by not having people on the agenda, by just coming here and speaking haphazardly.
No, that doesn't preclude them from formally going on the agenda.
No, but the state requires us to put more on the agenda, and we're saying,
Sure.
no, you don't have to be on the agenda. They do that to provide more open government. And I think that produces more open government when it's on the agenda, because now everybody out there, when it goes on the website, can see if so-and-so, and it could be somebody from their neighborhood.
Right.
And I hate to say it, I hate to use these gentlemen that came in tonight, but there's a perfect example, because somebody in that neighborhood, if this were on the agenda, could have come here and said, I don't want that.
Right.
And that may have influenced the board, but yet, we didn't have that opportunity.
And again, it doesn't preclude that from happening.
Well, anybody that doesn't have to go on the agenda, my guess is they're probably not going to do it. I don't know. If it wasn't a requirement to go on the agenda, I would just show up at the meeting. I wouldn't put it on the agenda. I don't know why anybody would want to.
In this case, had that happened in the public comment period, it might be appropriate to say, we don't have those answers. Thank you for your input, and then we're going to vote.
Possibly.
I think it's more open if you have a designated time for public comment, and it's clear to me that it should be in there.
Okay. I just hope that this has not been dictated to by a newspaper article.
No,
Because
not at
we've
all.
been doing this for 6 months now, and now all of a sudden it popped up after
Well,
this
we've
editorial.
also entertained public comment since the first of the year, too.
No.
Yes, we have.
There hasn't been anyone, and I think Kathy will test that.
There has been.
Huh?
There has been.
Yes, there has
No,
been.
there has not been on one agenda, public.
No,
It hasn't
we
been on
have
the agenda, but
accommodated-
you've allowed it.
We have accommodated public comment.
Anyway, board, I think Dave's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Was that aye?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay? And I say no.
Jim was there.
3-2. Jim was no, Paul was yes. Okay. All right, moving on.
Can I add something though? Sure. Can we make another motion though, that it is, if a developer's coming in or somebody has a question or wants to speak, that is on the agenda, because I think that is a good idea. I mean, if somebody had a comment, again, the comment's different than actually coming and asking, like tonight, not to use
Make a
again, but
presentation.
a presentation. You know, I didn't know they were gonna come in, but if it was on the agenda, I'd know and maybe do some research beforehand. So I'd like to make a motion that if it's a question or it's bringing something forward in front of the board, that it is on the agenda. You know?
It kind of states to why we say.
Well, yeah, but you're just comment, that's like somebody standing up and just,
I think what Paul's saying, as long as there's no questions resolved, if somebody just wants to come up and say, well, Hartford's a great place to live, that's no problem.
Yeah, right.
But if there's any questions involved or presentation, then they have to go on the agenda. It's better than what we got now with this motion.
right, yeah, I'd like to see, I mean, somebody comes up and asks, has a question, even in my district or something, and I don't know they're coming, at least I know, okay, you know, there's a question on sewage or whatever it might be, and maybe we can get some information even ahead of time, or even contact the person or something. But if somebody just wants to, you know, stand up and say, okay, somebody did a great job
If someone had
today.
a comment on your sewer issues, you could say, thank you for your comments, and
Yeah, I can,
I'll talk to
right,
you tomorrow morning. Or we'll get together tomorrow.
right.
I think this is much more than it needs to be. It's quite simple in my mind. It's the way we've done business in the past, and I think it just needs to be added back in.
I don't know.
It's up to you, you want to make the motion?
Well, yeah, I'd like to make them for the question and answers, if somebody has questions and answers, or somebody comes with a project or wants us to change something or something like that, I think that should be on the agenda for all of us and the residents. That's not a bad thing. I mean, anybody can come up and say what they want for comments, but again, if they're coming here for a purpose, like tonight, somebody came here with a purpose. They came to want to change the zoning.
That's an agenda item.
Right, so it should be there in case, again, like Pat said, if somebody else in the neighborhood didn't want it, or somebody did want it, if they can see at least that it's out there.
It's much more complicated than it needs to be.
Second?
I'll second with the addition to the agenda. And that's a big thing I like to see things on the agenda. I'm okay, I understand where you're going with the public comment. I'm okay with public comments, but I just like to see things on the agenda. I just think it's systematic, it's more professional. It is, I believe it is more open because it's on the website, and people see the agenda and know what's going to be going on, so.
And the motion does not preclude that in any way, shape, or form. All right, come on.
Rich, comment?
I'm fine with it.
All in favor?
Oh,
Rich?
Aye.
Aye? Then I say aye, 4-1. Dave said no. All right, moving on. Anything else before we go on to my stuff? Okay. You were all given, we'll start with one thing before I forget it, and that is the insurance. The insurance renewal came up. You all got a copy of it. Last year's amount was $170,945. The insurance proposal this year is $183,715. It's an increase of $12,770, a 7% increase. We had budgeted $187,000, so it's below the budget. Same coverage, everything as last year, and a 7% increase. I don't think that's bad. We need to take action tonight.
same coverage, you said?
All the same coverage.
Sometimes it's double-digit increases where I've seen.
Well, the last time that we did go out to bid, the prior carrier was yeah, a solid double digit. And would have been actually, their bid back then still would have been higher than the 183,715 as I recall.
No one's beating Travelers.
Well, it's good.
This year?
Yeah.
No. We didn't go out to bid this year.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second by Paul, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Union contract with the highway and the parks department. There was something that I left out at the last board meeting. which was, before we just set a public hearing, we had to give the union the opportunity to respond. So I had Herb the next day send this out. I heard this from our labor attorney. So I had Herb send out a letter to the Teamsters local and ask them if they wanted to respond. And as of today, we have not gotten a response from them. So we fulfilled everything that we needed to with regards to moving on to the public hearing, and therefore I would like to schedule a public hearing on this matter for our next board meeting, which would be July 9th. Have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second? Second by Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. I'm sorry, Danny, you got something?
I just have one other budget adjustment I
Sure,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
propose. It's in regards to 2 trucks that were purchased already in parks. And this is just to prevent a line item from going over budget, so I'm just gonna jot in some expenditure line items. So I propose to increase AA 7110.02, which is equipment purchases in parks, by $3,620. And then decrease AA 7230.04, which is contractual, by $2,700. And also decrease AA 7140.02, which is equipment, by $920.
Motion?
Balance that out.
Motion for that
So
budget?
moved.
Second.
Second by Paul, motion by Dave, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Board, I think that's all that I've got for open session.
Yeah, bills, vouchers.
You've looked at the bills, gentlemen, any questions on them? If not, I will entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
A second?
Second by Rich, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Anything else, board? Gail, before we go on? Paul?
I got one thing that I want to bring in executive session is billing for engineers on site.
What is that?
For billing, for engineer, when the engineer billings that we have for a contract. Can I do that or no?
I'm not sure that's one, but the one I've got is with regards to an individual employee personnel. I'm not sure. Oh, they're here. Oh. Good. Cheat sheet. Okay. Matters which may imperil the public safety if disclosed. Any matter which may disclose the identity of a law enforcement agency or informer. Information relating to current or future investigation, prosecution of a criminal offense. Discussions regarding proposed, pending, or current litigation. Collective negotiations of the civil service law. The medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
No, so I guess I could talk about it here then, if you don't mind to bring it up.
I don't.
Okay.
Or let me read the other two. The preparation, grading, or administration of examinations, the proposed acquisition, sale of land, real estate.
So, none of those.
Okay.
All right. Well, one thing I'd like to bring up is for the town engineer, we have a contract with them and they bill us out every time they come on a site. I'd like to propose something that if you know, a developer is asked to come on a site, one of our engineers to come on a site, or we're using it for a development project or somebody's doing a building project, that it doesn't come out of our regular contract that we have and it bills actually the whole town. I think if somebody wants to do a project or it's an issue with the project or something like that, that should actually be billed to the developer or the person developing or the landowner that has the actual issue. Because a lot of other towns do it. I know I went through it because Kirkland does it too. Like if they have you, mandate you to go out and get, you know, engineers.
We already have that.
Okay. So how does the developer, like say right now I bring somebody on site.
Well, basically what you would have to do is the planning board has it, we have it as a town board, you know, as a courtesy, you tell the developer up front, you know, that we want a study done, traffic study, stormwater study, whatever it may be, and we're going to we want our engineer to do it, and you're gonna be billed for it, basically.
Because they're not getting, because it's not getting billed, we're getting billed from our contract, but I see a lot, because I'm going on a lot of meetings and I see them there, and it's really not for the whole town as a whole, it's something that's really only helping that one project or that one developer or something, so, I don't know how we can determine.
That is a difficult
Well-
thing, because when we get engineering bills, we don't know whether it should go to that contractual. You know, we need the input from the department heads, if it's for a specific project, we try to identify that.
Right, I mean, we do have the pre-development meetings and stuff before that, which we normally don't charge the developer. It's when the developer first comes in with a plan, and we have Joe there, we have Herb there, we have our engineer there. You know, that I think we eat the cost on, because that's just something that is letting the developer know what we're expecting, what we think of the plan, et cetera, et cetera. However, I think possibly what you're talking about is a lot of times, and I know I've said it to developers, Joe has, if there is the possibility of a stormwater question, transportation, traffic study, we tell them up front, or I do, you know, you're going to have to give us a study, and it's going to cost us. As a matter of fact, we had that situation with a matter we're involved with now, and they were told they should go out and get a stormwater.
And that's not a surprise to the developer, he expects.
No, I mean, it's a regular, I mean, other places do it too, you know, if you want to start a project, but every time our guy goes out, if it's not, even if he just goes out to see something for us, instead of us taking out of our contract and billing us, that I see through the bills, it should really go through the developer, like other towns and municipalities, I mean.
So the mechanism in place, we've got to do a better job of.
Yeah, I think our billing, because we waste a lot of hours on stuff that.
Well, I think what we've got to do is I'll talk with Rick, or if you want, you guys could talk with Rick, you know, because I think that's where it starts, because a lot of times, they'll bring somebody out, they'll have a question on it, they'll bring them out. I mean, if one of our people bring them out, I mean, if Rick brings them out, or if Joe brings them out, you know, I think that's something we eat and goes through the contract. However, if a developer comes in and we see an issue, and we say, hey, listen, you know, we want a study done on this, or we want our engineer to take a look at this, you know, then we tell them. But I think you gotta tell the developer or whomever up front, you're gonna pay for this, and, you know, tell them what
Well,
it
no,
is.
we'll do it all up front, online, whatever, but I'm just, nobody ever gets billed. That's-
All right, let me, well, we have in the past, we've built.
For majors, right, but I'm just saying, even the hours, just for when they come out, they still bill us, because they come from Syracuse or whatever, so they bill us like 3
Well-
hours to come look at a site, and then.
Well, they come out once a week. They're always here on Tuesday. So if they do it on Tuesday, that's our cost, because they're gonna be here anyway. But any other time. What I'll do is I'll talk with Rick and Joe, maybe we'll sit down, we'll come up with some type of thing. I'll bring it back to the board, make sure you guys are okay with it, and then we'll implement it based on that.
Just because I think it'd help us a lot,
No, I
out
agree.
a lot with the costs, it would bring our
Sure.
costs down, plus, you know, we wouldn't be charging the whole town for certain things that really, you know.
Are their costs. I
Right.
agree totally. Anything else? Okay, that being said, it's 8 o'clock, motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Give a couple minutes for the